we want to again remind persons to disregard fake news or information coming from questionable sources and only listen or take your directions from official sources. We've seen notices going around that Social Security will be making payments tomorrow morning at 8. Again, that did not come from Social Security, and we should not give that any regard. I've seen a release from Social Security debunking that particular information. So take only your information from official and credible sources. Social Security Board is one such credible source that you should take your information from, and not from Facebook, from somebody's page. Over the past 24 hours, again, as we ask persons to comply with the curfew that is in place, we've seen good cooperation. We've had good cooperation from the public for the most part. However, there were those few misguided persons who were intent on violating the curfew, and the security forces were not about to tolerate it. And so to date, we have arrested 12 persons, charges of breaching the curfew orders. 2 of those persons are from Nevis, are in Nevis, and 10 in St-Kitts. So 12 persons to date have been arrested, and charges will be brought against them for a violation of the curfew. Yes, on the question of whether or not gas stations would be open, I think I did mention that, but yes. But let me run through the list of businesses that would be exempted on the partial curfew days. Wholesale and retail grocery stores, commercial bakeries or fruit and vegetable vendors from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. But for the first 2 shopping hours, seniors, disabled persons, and essential workers with identification shall be granted priority. This simply means that if someone who is an essential worker comes in the line, you don't have him at the back of the line. You give them priority at the top of the line for the first 2 hours between 8 and 10. Gas stations from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Hotels, excluding casinos, spas, gyms, discotheques, and restaurants. Banks, credit unions, and money services business from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Commercial ports and related businesses between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m., subject to any variation by the Ports Authority. Airports, and this is subject to regulations. The commercial courier flights, those will be permitted to come in. And takeaway food vendors from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. So just to run through the list again: wholesale and retail grocery stores, bakeries, fruit and vegetable vendors, gas stations, hotels in a limited way, banks, credit unions, and other money services business, commercial ports, commercial courier flights, and takeaway food vendors. Those will be permitted to operate on the days when the partial curfew is in effect.
Today, we are recommending that individuals can wear a face mask when in public spaces. And the rationale for this recommendation is that the virus can remain suspended in air particles for as long as 3 hours. And it is based on this bit of evidence that we are making this recommendation. And this recommendation is a recommendation. Persons are free to wear a mask, but you may opt not to wear a mask. So it's a personal choice. Now, the masks are available in St. Kitts. I just received 2 WhatsApp messages telling me that the masks can be had at Best Buy, and also Sun Island has locally made masks. And I'm told that the masks for children at Sun Island are at $10 each, and those for adults can be purchased at $15 each. And so these are just 2 places where the masks can be procured. And so this is a recommendation, however, it's also a personal choice. Thank Thank you.
I think that is very important to stress that the principle involved here is that there is a shelter in place. People, every person, should stay in their place of residence. There are some limited exceptions during when there is a partial curfew. But you should stay at home. So that, for instance, when it comes to ferry travel, you should stay at home unless there's exceptional circumstance. And we expect our citizens to comply because we expect you to be good citizens. The spirit involved is also important as the law itself. The letter of the law is important, but the spirit is very important. I would like to answer the question posed by Ms. Abel that seems to suggest that any individual who has a downturn in their business revenue should be compensated by the state, by the taxpayers of the state. This is a crisis. It is a crisis, and we expect all hands on deck to fight the crisis. We expect that there will be some hardship for individuals, and where there is hardship, where people cannot make their basic needs of food and of living, the state has provided a stimulus package, a support package that can be dispensed. This is not a chance for people to make money, a chance to top up. This is not what this is about. We are in a crisis, an emergency brought on by a virus that no one in St-Kitts-and-Nevis is responsible for. It is the vagaries of life. And as that is the case, we each have to do our part. If it is that there is going to be hardship by anyone, the state has put in place through Social Security, to the Poverty Alleviation Fund, and others, social assistance, to allow those who do so. But not if I'm accustomed to make $100,000, I must be given $100,000 by the state if I'm not going to make it. That is not what this is about. We are in a state of emergency. And as such, the state will do whatever it is to support those who are destitute, but not for anyone to make any type of killing on the hardship that is going on. Thank you.
We have received several 311 calls, and I want to thank the volunteers and the health workers and everyone who are operating these lines and providing guidance to all our citizens who are in need. I want to commend them for the hard work that they are doing and the superb job being executed.
Locally, as at 11:04 a.m. today, St. Kitts-and-Nevis recorded one additional case of COVID-19, and this brings the total number of confirmed cases to 9. The patient is a citizen of St. Kitts-and-Nevis and resident on Nevis. There have been 0 deaths recorded in the Federation. To date, however, there are 113 persons who have been tested, with 9 confirmed positives, as I stated earlier, 87 confirmed negative, and 17 results that are pending. There are currently 34 persons quarantined in a government facility, while 272 persons are quarantined at home. 9 persons are in isolation, and to date, 144 persons have been released from quarantine. Persons with a confirmed diagnosis of COVID-19 are to remain in strict isolation. Persons who have had a significant and direct contact with a confirmed case are automatically placed in quarantine. Please note that you are required to remain in the quarantine place for a minimum of 14 days, and persons in quarantine are not allowed to interact with anyone during those 14 days. All citizens and residents are reminded to exercise social distancing and appropriate respiratory hygiene measures.
And so far, we have recognized that the Food and Agriculture Organization has clearly indicated that the global food reserves and global food production are not significantly impacted. For one, production so far is keeping pace as expected. And secondly, production itself is also ongoing, in that commercial farmers in the first world, because for some time now they have been using advanced technologies where you find like one farmer being responsible for hundreds, sometimes thousands of acres. The concept of close proximity does not come into question. And therefore, he's able to carry out his activities and things are expected to go on as normal. What we therefore were looking at is short-term activity. And in St. Kitts, the government has put together what we call a stimulus package of some $10 million for agriculture and fisheries, both in St. Kitts-and-Nevis. And that is what we were addressing. The Honorable Minister, Mr. Eugene Hamilton, also, I believe, brought some comfort to the farmers who were there when he announced to them that those who had lost animals through the tick disease, that he had kept his word and approached government about a compensation package for them, and that he had been successful in the amount of $500,000.